I run my hands through my hair. I hope she actually shows up to class. Check the time on my phone and it's skip time. I'm gonna assume the news is the same. Let's just get an early start. I'd rather be off to school as soon as possible. After slipping on my shoes, I subject myself to the airport full-body pat-down treatment to make sure I didn't skip the button. Yes.
Stay the fuck out of my way!
I intend to do just that. I'm sure we'd both be happier if we never had to see each other again. But I guess this is going to be a thing every morning now, this awkward dance of avoidance. Once again, the shifting superhuman activity converges. The voices surround me, coalescing into the occasional stream of coherent thought, like so many alphabet noodles. Another day, another idol group. Idol group? Getting shut down because one of the girls goes nuts and slashes her wrist open. Seriously, why is that such a prevalent thing in this industry? What's even? Okay, no, they're like talking about celebrities hurting themselves. Dude, did you hear about that crazy girl on the rooftop spent the whole day just soaking up the rain? Didn't even show up to class, so weird. Okay, yeah, I remember that, but how about that Sarbatsu slasher, huh? Went and cut up some chick again. Get this, she survived. Here they have her room locked down, all maximum security like. See that new freshman kid? He's pretty cute, at least until he opens his mouth. Sometimes I enjoy listening to their voices. I'm talking about you, bro. After that entire debacle yesterday went to my introduction, I had given up hope on silently and visibly fading into the background where none could reach me. But perhaps the kids at this school are less judgmental than I assumed, ironically making me the judgmental one. 10 minutes till the start of home ec. Wonder if they provide aprons. Now we will be forced to meet Natsuki, right? Bet Sayori would agree with me, and her poor, abused kitchen would too. Eh? What did you say that Sayori would agree with? Hold on. No. If I were to argue this case in front of an actual person, they'd just make fun of me. Okay, it's that. Skeep. Wait a second. I know her. This all must be some kind of cosmic joke, and it's at the expense of both me and the pink-haired girl. Sorry, candy-colored stranger. I promise from now on, I'll be out of your hair after class is done with. Thank you, ma'am. After sucking myself up, I quietly advanced toward the candy-colored menace, nervously gripping the tie of my uniform. The pint-sized pest seems to still be undecided on what to do next. She leafs through the pages of the recipe book, her frustrated gaze making apparent her indecision. I just stand in place. The expletive was blurted forth as naturally as it was during our first encounter. Luckily, the sounds of running water, frying pans, and a microwave managed to mostly mask her voice. Yeah, see, like that sprite was like her regular height, and now she's down to whatever they modified it to be.
You're that staring four eyes that tried to chat me up on the way to school yesterday.
Unable to form sentences, I resort instead to nodding my head frantically, my frowning lips stiff as stale bread. The pink-haired girl crosses her arms and huffs like a furious bull.
Well, I ain't apologizing for shit, so what did I do to deserve getting saddled with you, huh?
The instructor said I should pair up with you. We'll do something different this time. We'll make... there's so many other things you can't. I'll just take from the top. Taiyaki.
As much as I'd like to give that a try, you don't technically bake those.
Ah, she's right. You just fry them with a specially shaped pan, similar to a waffle iron. Oh, so there are wrong answers on this list too. Let's take it from the bottom. What's Hanami Dango?
That shit's boiled, not baked. Come on, keep up!
Admittedly, for now I had no idea how Dango, or Mochi in general, was actually made. Try to keep up, mate. And Mitsu.
Wipe that stupid grin off your face. You're not that funny.
So she admits I'm at least a little funny. I don't know what Mitsu is. Some of these things do sound like things you can actually bake though, but what about Nama chocolate?
Are you stupid? Show me where in the recipe that involves actual baking.
That's right. You basically just pour chocolate into a pan and chill it. Okay. Well, matcha Swiss roll cake does sound like a thing you can bake, so let's pick that one then. I'd love to try one of these Swiss roll cakes, especially one in this lovely green color. The matcha roll cake, rather.
Nice! And don't let its fancy looks fool you. It ain't as complicated as it looks.
After preheating them to 375 degrees, the pink-haired girl starts lining a cake pan with parchment paper. As she's doing this,
Yo, I'm gonna get started mixing together the dry stuff. I'll need you to crack 6 eggs and separate out the yolks into individual bowls. Think you can handle that?
she's testing the waters, determining what level of competency I'm at when it comes to baking. But I think you've underestimated me, my cotton candy-colored friend. As she sifts the dry ingredients through a fine metal sieve, she watches closely how I handle the eggs. Delicately, I tap the eggshell against the edge of the bowl, forming a barely perceptible crack, before using my fingers to spread the newly bisected egg, releasing the egg whites into a bowl and deftly using the shell to catch the yolk. I repeat this 6 times, until the egg whites and the yolks are all cordoned off into their respective bowls. The girl looks away, trying to hide her expression of surprise. Meanwhile, against my better judgment, I feel a smile creep onto my face. Something about this girl makes me want to impress her. Perhaps it's out of a vindictive urge to prove she was wrong in dismissing me so curtly in our first encounter, but I catch that thought before it can fester into something darker. Arrogance doesn't suit you, Hallie. Oh, arrogance doesn't suit anyone, and she had every right to tell you off. Stop pretending anything is anyone's fault but your own. That smile certainly didn't last long. The pink-haired girl slots a whisk head into a hand mixer and powers it on, using it to beat the egg whites. As the froth forms, I add sugar to the mix on one tablespoon. Good God, at a time. Once the sugar is exhausted, she sets the hand mixer to high and continues beating the mix until it becomes a soft, white goop that forms stiff peaks. She then pours half of the egg whites into the egg yolk mixture and begins gently folding the resultant slime with a rubber spatula. As she's doing this, I slowly scrape in the rest of the whipped egg whites, and then next comes the flour and salt, which I sift in as she continues to folding the batter. The two of us worked without skipping a beat, so engrossed in the process that we don't even realize how close we've gotten. How her right arm is resting against my left as we lean into each. Wait. Sorry. I am so sorry. What? Hurried. Excuses.
Huh? What the fuck happened?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. My face burns a bright shade of crimson as I tightly grip my arms, averting my head and eyes to the side. I'm so sorry for getting so close.
You're fucking adorable, you know that?
I can only imagine the redness on my face has deepened even further.
Come on, let's get this shit onto a pan and into the oven.
Growing on her, man. She leaves me to recover while she uses the rubber spatula to scrape the dull green-colored batter into a cake pan. Once it has all found its new home in the black rectangular pan, the pink-haired girl shuts the oven door and sets the timer.
This will only take 10 minutes or so. The perfect time to start making our strawberry swirl frosting.
Strawberry swirl? That's not in the recipe.
I know, right? Don't worry, it's not that scary. The fridges have the heavy cream and the strawberry preserves. All we need to do is add sugar and beat the hell out of it.
And beat the hell out of it she did, until the resultant frosting, beautiful in its red and white swirled coloring, formed hard peaks. Not a moment too soon as well. The batter appears to be done baking, as evident both by the oven's chime and the rich, sweet aroma emanating from it. She swings the oven door open, and our faces are blasted by both the heat and the cake's fragrance, now stronger than ever. Green slime. I don't know what I expected, it's just a thin sheet of green at the bottom of the pan. The pink-haired girl must have picked up on the uncanny lack of ceremony because she speaks up.
Okay, I know it doesn't look all that impressive right now, but it's what happens next that makes this thing.
True enough, I suppose. The girl slips a pair of mittens over her hands and evacuates the green-tinted disappointment from the oven's scorching bowels. Carefully, the pink-haired girl extracts the flat cake from the pan by lifting it out by the bits of parchment sticking up along the pan's edge. I apply a dusting of powdered sugar to the countertop, and she sets the cake delicately down onto the thusly sweetened surface. After I peel off the parchment, she begins applying a thick layer of the strawberry swirl frosting with gusto. It seems she and I are of like mind. The more frosting, the better. Once the frosting has been generously applied, now comes the nerve-wracking part, rolling it into a log. I elect to allow the pink-haired girl to handle this one, but handle it she does, with only a couple cracks forming. Fortunately, these can be somewhat obscured via a liberal application of powdered sugar all over the top of the roll cake. She looks remarkably proud of her work, despite the sweat dripping from her brow. All she has to say on the matter is,
Hell, the fuck yes!
She wastes no time procuring a cake knife and carving out a thick slice from the end. There it is! We made it! Wow! What an exquisite dessert, both in its presentation and its aroma. The rich notes of the matcha tea blend complement the sweetness of the strawberry frosting perfectly, resulting in a dish that, while certainly bearing the telltale hallmarks of traditional Eastern teas, also carries a distinctly Western sweetness and delicacy. It brings to mind an image of tea and cake served in an opulent mansion's solar, shared with an old friend as we reminisce on ballroom dances and arranged marriages past. I don't know what they mean by this, but I'm going to take their word for it. To say nothing of the splendid white and red marble pattern of the frosting. Now, plainly, I was looking at the cake! Now, plainly is visible in the cross-section. It almost seems a shame to. Even as annoying as last time. The pink-haired girl's colorful imagery snaps me out of my brain tangent, and I notice she's already halfway through her own slice. I didn't even pay attention to her reaction. She takes breaks off another bite. She takes breaks off another bit with her fork and eats it, staring me down with a furrowed brow. I come to the somewhat bold conclusion that she has given me permission to try a slice myself. I notice her eyeing me up as I gingerly transfer a slice to a plate and cut into it with my fork. Is she studying my reaction? Also, if you haven't actually tasted this thing yet, how did you give that description earlier? I bite into it. It is a delight to my taste buds. The rich earthy tones of the matcha powder, offset by the creamy frosting, all soft and melting in my mouth. What would have already been a dessert with a lot to chew on is elevated by the addition of the strawberry preserves, which not only accentuate the sweetness, but also cut through all flavors present with a delightful tang.
Ha! You know, if you want to keep up this gloomy evil persona, you'll have to work on your poker face.
It's amazing. My eyes are damn near tearing up from the flavor.
Well, yeah, I am the best after all.
The two of us enjoy the rest of our respective cake slices in silence before long, one of the instructors passes by and cuts out a slice for herself. The pink-haired girl wears an expression of anticipation, notably lacking any sort of trepidation. Her confidence has proven to be well-founded.
Excellent work as usual. The cracking present on the cake surface can be remedied by allowing it more time to cool, but I'm sure we can chalk that up to outside interference.
The instructor glances in my direction as she says this. I look away to the floor, hiding my face in shame. I kick her shins violently. I'm sorry.
Hey, don't try to make excuses, man. The real world is going to have all sorts of outside interference. Just gotta get used to it. Oh, come on, little attitude. Japan needs more young ladies with sense of duty such as yours. As for you, young gentleman without the proper papers, get your act together.
Come on, Allie. Stand up for yourself, mean teacher. No, I could never possibly. Come on, man, I told you. I shiver just thinking about what would happen if I mouthed off. Come on, Allie. No, you have to. I want it. Make it happen. Now! Mouth off to the teacher! Fine. Be a little bitch. This is all my fault anyway. The instructor strides towards the next student with long, imperious steps, leaving the words to stew. A moment passes before I inhale deeply and dare to look the girl in the eye.
Grown-ups are just the worst, aren't they?
She wasn't wrong. I probably messed something up along the way. I'm sorry.
Oh, shut the hell up!
I promptly do as the pink-haired girl commands. She produces 2 plastic containers from a drawer before slicing the cake in half and placing one half inside a container. She inserts the filled container in her backpack, taking care not to jostle it so as not to crush the cake. And that signals the end of class. Home economics proved to be just as fun as I thought, for the most part, anyway. I sling my backpack over my shoulders and turn to silently...
Yo!
Only to be. Silent leave, only to be. You'd think the paths would have converged by now. This time her outburst was audible to the entire class, shuffling the door, some turn to look at most continue on.
You just gonna leave your half of the cake?
Oh, I guess this part is a little different each time. My face reddens and I scramble to say something half coherent. No, I couldn't possibly...
Didn't I just tell you shut the hell up?
With a look of frustration and disappointment on her face, she places the other half of the cake into the second plastic container and seals it up. She thrusts the container into my face. For some reason, neither of us can look the other in the eye as I hesitantly accept it and stuff it into my backpack. Alright. As we exit the home ec classroom, another group of students with a much more even gender split passes through. Some of them are looking at me. Scattered, quiet laughter breaks out among the group. They can't be laughing at me. A heavy atmosphere of disquiet follows me as I make my way to the mathematics classroom. But, as it turns out, that's not the only thing that's following me. Hi, Natsuki. Though I don't have the courage to speak up about it, The awkwardness continues to permeate the air as we walk silently side by side. Why? Why are you still here? Please just go away. Is what I want to say to her. Instead, I just keep my head down and pretend she isn't there. This goes on for the next few minutes, until...
Christ, why are you so cool all of a sudden?
Loud! You told me to shut up.
What? That hurt your feelings? Giving you silent treatment now.
Does this girl know what shut up means? Why are you following me? And then they converged. I'll just keep doing what she said and stay the fuck out of her way. I heft my backpack and feel the weight of my half of the matcha Swiss roll cake inside it. Still, maybe she is nice after all. As I ponder this, I come face to face with calculus. There's Kazori. Well, wow, imagine that. Kazori is in this class as well. She notices me as I close the glassroom door behind me. She offers me a friendly wave. I politely wave back in response. I check the seating chart and find that I actually have a window seat. Yay! How should I spend my lunch break? You know what? I would feel so bad abandoning Sayori at this point, so no. Without any need for prompting, I know exactly where I'm headed next. The stairwell, where Sayori and I were united. But you know what? We're going to pick up with that next time, because that is going to do it for now. I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you next time with more Downpour. Hope to see you then. Bye-bye.